Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe from the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening. And you are listening.
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. It's just me, Ro, and Emil with you here tonight. It's picks of the week time. We were kind of out of it last week because syempre holiday, long undas holiday with what is it, may konting work days thrown in. Emil, how was your holidays, man?
It was good. It was honestly medyo bummer siya because I was sick after Thursday. After nung undas, I felt down, and then it got worse when I got home. So nung biyahe pa lang, like medyo masama rin pakiramdam ko because for a lot of people who doesn't know, I went home to Naga last weekend.
Yep.
And when I got back home, I was bedridden for like 2 days. I was really sick. But now I'm getting better now, and like we're here to give you our picks of the week.
Yeah, we recorded our episode last week on Thursday, and I don't know if you guys noticed or could tell, but I was also sick. Turned out I had COVID.
Oh wow!
I had COVID, and I didn't know until I took a test on Wednesday. So, medyo patapos na. Although, I had gone to the cemetery, I had gone to...
Oh my God!
I'd come home. But mukhang wala namang nahawa sa akin from my family. So, yun. Them's be the breaks. So, yun. We're kind of getting better. It really fucking sucked. Being sick for the long holiday. That's not what we wanted for our holiday. But hey, we're here. And first things first, before we get into our picks of the week, syempre, meron tayong viewing party for Survivor Series War Games because they just announced War Games earlier today on Raw. So it's going to be the War Games match so far that we know of is going to be Team Babyface Coalition versus the Judgment Day. So all 4 guys of the Judgment Day, which I guess JD McDonough's already a part of. And maybe there's going to be one more because syempre, they do 2 War Games matches and one with the men, one with the women, right? So
yes,
for sure meron yan. It might have something to do with Damage Control and Kyrie, but we'll talk about that later. So we're going to have that War Games watch party, and it's going to be at Hobby Stadium. It's going to be on November 26th. That is a Saturday, 8 a.m. Ano ba? Daylight Savings Time.
No, that's
Sunday, sorry. It's a Sunday morning. My bad. Daylight Savings Time na. Yeah, so 9 na siya.
9 yung show, pero 8 parang like, the kickoff is at 8.
Yeah. So we won't have to be there super, super early. Pero syempre, if you are, if you want that prime seats, Hobby Stadium, which to be fair, and you can sit anywhere at Hobby Stadium and it will be good. So just go on to our Google Forms. You can find it on our Facebook page, the Wrestling Podcast. Early bird rates are at 350 pesos. Please go sign up na kasi people have already started pre-registering for our viewing party and may nakadalawa ng bumili. So if you wait, you might not have a spot because as you guys know, Hobby Stadium isn't as big as Skinny Mike's. Yep. So we might not, if there is demand, we might not be able to meet that demand. So if you're considering watching Survivor Series War Games with, live, because you like War Games or whatever, please go sign up now. Again, it's the Wrestling Podcast. Early bird tickets are at $350. If we still have people walking in, you can still walk in for sure, but no guarantees that you'll find a good seat. But if you do walk in, it's going to be 500 pesos. There is a free iced tea with your ticket. Tapos we have sponsored prizes. We're going to have a raffle for that. We have prizes from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles and syempre our friends at Hobby Stadium. We'll tell you more about it once we finalize those deals, but for sure, may prizes yan. So again, November 26th, that is a Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Pre-show. Maybe doors will open at around 7:30, mga ganun. And the main show starts at 9 a.m. Hobby Stadium, New Manila, Quezon City, Doña Gemini Street. And we'll see you guys there. Emil will be there. I will not be there, unfortunately. Stan will not be there as well because he's obviously calling the show from home. And we don't know yet if Chino and Rowan will be there. Sorry.
Yep, Rowan will be there.
We'll let you know if Chino will be there if you guys want to see Chino. So yan. And other than our watch party, Emil, tell the people what they have waiting for them if they sign up and support us by signing up to our Patreon.
All right, so if you sign up to our Patreon, you'll get benefits, of course. It's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5 or 260 to 270 pesos locally. And like I said, there's some benefits, of course. So you get to join in on our Discord server and can interact with your fellow podcasts and talk to us about anything, our wrestling, TV shows, sports, memes, fashion, everything and anything under the sun. And also, if you sign up to our Patreon, you also get some benefits with our pasabays, which the last couple of ones were successful, the new system that we're doing. And we're looking forward to Black Friday. So Black Friday this upcoming later this month. So if you want to get your authentic merch and want to get some friendly rates on our service fees, it's na pinapatong namin. So you can get that by joining in on our Patreon. Also, you can also get the review content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Raw and ASH and Raw, like Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Collision, and some local wrestling events as well. And again, by signing up to our Patreon, you're basically supporting everything that we do here on the podcast. So again, it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
Yon, thank you, Emil. And by the way, syempre, we almost forgot to promote. Syempre, our pasabays, our merch pasabays are still happening. Syempre, we are gearing up for Black Friday. We just finished, or we're about to finish this weekend, yung deliveries namin of the last of the September batch. So glad to say that everyone has gotten their orders. They arrived when we expected them to arrive, and we've already got some people waiting for the next one. So Black Friday means a lot of discounts and deals all around the shops, whether it's WWE Shop, Shop AEW, even if it's a fight or wherever you find wrestling merch online and kung tatanggapin ang aming credit card. So isipin nyo na kung anong gusto nyo bilhin, because a lot of people have been happy with their legitimate, authentic merchandise from all the different companies. The quality has been really good. Emil can testify himself how good the legit merch is. So we'll let you know when we open Black Friday, the Black Friday batch. It should be in a couple of weeks kasi malapit na. Thanksgiving's super fucking near. So stay tuned for that if you have seen us in our merch and want one of your own. Right. Time for Picks of the Week. So we had a big Picks of the Week episode last week that covered the past 2 weeks. And now this week's episode will cover last week. So let's start with my pick. It's from last Monday's Raw. I don't always get the pick from Raw, but it is Alpha Academy versus the Creed brothers in their, I guess, their tryout match for Raw. And super ganda ng match ito. You guys know I'm a big Creed Brothers fan. They have been one of the most legit acts to step through from amateur wrestling to professional wrestling. They just get it. Like, a lot of the amateur wrestlers have gotten it, pero sila gets nila. Like, they are so good with it. And they, with this match on Raw last week, they reminded people who know of them and introduce themselves to people who might not have, who might not be watching NXT and aren't really familiar with them. So the Creed brothers are like two bigger versions of Chad Gable, diba?
Yes.
And Jason Jordan even. So they showed all of that. They showed how much they understand pro wrestling. They showed how good they move in the ring. Whether you're a big, good-looking dude like Julius Creed or a big, agile, big man like Brutus Creed, diba? Pinakita nila yun. They got a lot of time. Alpha Academy made them shine. They even put them over to the death. I mean, if you're a Chad Gable fan, it's a little bit sad, but the match was so good that you kind of let it slide, right? And that match, because they won that match, parang it was their on-screen audition for the main roster, and they passed it. So as you guys know, on today's Raw, they signed contracts on screen with Adam Pearce, right? Michael Cole says, "Welcome to WWE." So apparently NXT isn't a part of WWE. So yeah, really good. It's a we have problems with the tag team division. So the tag team championships are still unified, and if we want to push a lot of people from either show, Raw or SmackDown, we do have to split those titles up eventually. But this shows a lot of promise when it comes to what is in store in the Raw tag team division. Emil, what did you think of this?
This was an amazing match actually. So again, if a lot of people, if you don't know, I had this Twitter thread of where I put my favorite matches of the year, and I put this on my list because these are two incredible teams na medyo parehas yung styles nila, and they really meshed well, and the Creed brothers, I've been waiting for this for such a long time kasi when NXT rebranded, or actually were they in NXT was yung late black? No, they were.
No, they were not on Black and Gold.
They were already on 2.0. Yeah, so they were pretty much one of the first acts that really shined there. So I thought they were going to be in the main roster like 6 months or a year, but it took them quite a while. But it's fine. At least nakabot na tayo dito sa point that they are on the main roster already. And again, they showed us why they are one of the best tag teams down there in NXT, and they showed us why this team has a lot of potential. The Creed brothers are, I think, the modern day Steiners. I say they both had the same look, and they can really go in the ring. I'm surprised with some of the, like, even though I've been watching the Creed brothers for years, may mga surprises pa din sila. Like when Judas Creed pulled off I think I saw him pull off a standing shooting star press. So that's really impressive coming from that guy.
And Brutus can fucking moonsault, diba?
Yeah, diba? Like, they're so good, and they have a lot of potential, and I feel like they're gonna be a force to reckon with in the next few years to come. And they're gonna be a legendary tag team once it's all said and done.
Yeah, for sure. I know these guys have been like the last Triple H, or one of the last Triple H signings before 2.0, diba? So for sure, he knew what he was getting into when he signed them, and now it's paying dividends. So can't wait to see how much they push the Creeds. They are so good. Like automatically sila na yung best. I mean, one of the best tag teams in the Raw tag team division. Right.
Plus a bonus here is I think na-call up na din si Ivy Nile.
Yeah. Yes.
Also an added boost to the women's division of Raw.
Ivy Nile isn't as heralded as the brothers, but she's really good. She just needs a little more seasoning, and she needs a bunch of more experienced women wrestlers to guide her, especially like kunyari when she had that match versus Meiko Satomura sa NXT UK last year. You just need to lead her, but she also has a lot of potential because she is super athletic because she was a CrossFitter. So, okay, yun. One of the low-key boosts of the Raw Women's Division, which is already pretty stacked, as we'll talk about in a bit, diba?
The tables have turned. The podcasters now want to listen to you.
Tell us your thoughts in the survey for a chance to win a cash prize. Be honest, huh?
Answer the survey on our website, surveypilipinas.org.
And you're automatically part of the raffle. For a chance to win 5,000 pesos in cash,
make sure to complete the survey for your entry to be qualified.
We're excited to get your feedback. We are listening.
Just go to www.surveypilipinas.org at baka ikaw na ang next winner.
Right. Let's move on to China's pick from Dynamite last week. It is the main event. The Acclaimed versus and Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Bullet Club Gold. They had a 6-man tag match. Sorry. It's a 8-man tag match, right? The story behind this was that Bullet Club Gold challenged MJF to an 8-man tag, and then they thought that MJF couldn't find 3 friends to tag with him. So MJF had to go through a bunch of people before finally settling for the Acclaim with the weirdo Max Caster trying to hook up with him. All right, so Chino says MJF spending almost the entire episode in search of partners was a nice narrative touch. I agree with that. They don't always do that, the good storytelling, but they did it here. So okay siya. It was one of those things that, okay, the storytelling was really on point there, and they made us go through an emotionally investing journey with MJF. So Gino says it was great to see them tease a potential Kenny Omega or Samoa Joe team up, and even better, it was even better when it looked like MJF had to team with Jeff Jarrett and companies, and Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal. That was funny. Yeah, it was. And then Chino says it was great to see him finally accept Max Caster and the Acclaimed as his friends, especially with the whole thing where Billy Gunn had to talk some sense into him. So they had this really long emotional roller coaster that actually spanned weeks kasi matagal nang niniligawan ni Max Caster si MJF. The scissoring at the end was a nice touch and really cemented MJF's babyface run right now. Chino also wonders if they'll use the whole friendship with the Acclaimed as a means to set up Adam Cole versus MJF when Adam Cole inevitably turns on MJF down the line. I agree with all of this. Yung emotional journey ni MJF, I think at this point, parang hindi ka na pwedeng bumawi. Diba? When MJF teased face turns before, when he would feud with CM Punk or whatever, he would immediately revert back to his scumbag personality. And now I'm really happy to see him really lean into it. Like, he's too far gone into the face road and on the face path to go back to it. Parang, okay, wala touch move na to. Sorry. Yeah. Touch move na to. Because you've been doing this for months, right? And you've really solidified how much character development you've been going through, right? Yep. So I'm glad. This is what I've been calling for. When I believe he was feuding with, I think it was Bryan Danielson or CM Punk. Now, I wanted him to turn face. I didn't want him to go back to being a heel. The only way they can undo this now is if they have MJF be the one to turn on Adam Cole, diba? Which I don't think is going to happen because I think both MJF and Tony Khan have seen how willing the crowd is to accept MJF as their scumbag, as our scumbag. So Chino's right. I think this is the final nail in the coffin of MJF turning face, if you will. And this was a really nice moment that nagawa nila na paraan, na naitawid nila because at first it was a little sudden. The Acclaimed and Max Caster wanted to team up with him. And now they made us go through it and they made us care for this whole thing coming together. So because Adam Cole isn't available, they opted for this, and I think that this worked out just as well. What do you think, Emil?
Oh yeah, definitely. At least may pay off yung weeks of Max Caster trying to team up with MJF. So at least it happened now here, and I like the fact that even though MJF has become a babyface, pero the roster wala pa rin siyang kaibigan aside from Adam Cole and the Acclaimed on the roster. Kasi that is kasi with example with Wardlow, like hindi pa rin nakalimutan ni Wardlow yung mga ginawa ni MJF sa kanya. That's why he attacked him, or not attacked, like he threatened MJF while he was trying to find a partner nung Dynamite. So it's definitely a good way to to have some character development talaga ng MJF, like hindi lang basta nag-face siya, bati-bati na lahat. So I really like the Acclaimed and MJF team up. It was so funny at the end there with all the scissoring, and like you said, the people are ready to accept MJF as a babyface, and I think DK has realized that, and that was also, like you said, wala nang katasan, and he's gonna run the ball with it, with MJF being the babyface, and I just don't see him being a heel anytime soon. Because people, he's really over. Like people want to accept him and want to, to cheer him. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for MJF, and that's a good thing, I guess, for him in the long run.
Yeah, I think na accept na rin niya na diba? Like if he is to be a face of the company, he has to be a face. He has to learn how to be a face, right? Because it's pretty comfortable for him to stay being a heel. Because it's so easy to piss people off. Speaking as a guy who has played heel, it really is super easy and amusing for myself to do things that piss people off. So trying to curry favor with the crowd as a face is a lot harder, especially when the crowd wants pa-cool characters, diba? They don't really want the corny stuff, especially if you can't properly evoke being wholesome and being a do-gooder hero. So it's good that he's learning this, and he is really turning his game into something three-dimensional, diba? So yeah, you got any more thoughts, Emil, on this, on MJF?
I'm good with this one.
All right, okay. Our last three picks from Rowan, Emil, and Stan are also from Crown Jewel. So that's going to be one whole show, right? So before we get into that, let's take a quick break and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, we're back with picks of the week. And let's go to Crown Jewel. So it happened yesterday. This is Tuesday. It happened on Sunday morning, midnight, 1 a.m. Manila time. And did you stay up for this, Emil? I did not.
No, I was on the bus.
You were on the bus. Right. Exactly, right. See, Rowan and Stan were up for this. So I didn't get to catch it live. I've only started to catch up with it noong kanina, before we went home and recorded this, and it seems like I didn't really miss that much. So let's go to the first Crown Jewel pick. It is from you, Emil. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship.
So my pick of the week is the opener to Crown Jewel. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. And initially coming in, I wasn't really so excited about this match, considering in the storyline, I don't think Drew was gonna win this match because I think he's headed. Hindi pa nangyayari. I thought it was gonna happen earlier on Raw, but hindi pa nangyayari. I thought Drew McIntyre is headed for a heel turn, and for him to do that, he needs to lose this match. So I was really excited, but for some reason, Seth and Drew has this weird chemistry. Now, whenever they would have a match with each other, it would always turn out to be good. Because the last match that they also had before this, the last title match that they had was all the way no pandemic. The Money in the Bank, I don't know if you remember this, Money in the Bank 2020, where it was in front of no crowd at all. And I wasn't really excited watching wrestling in front of no people. But when they had that match, it was really, really good for a match without a crowd. So when they had this match, it was kind of the same feeling. Coming in, I wasn't excited, but while watching it, it nag-crescendo siya eh. Like they were pulling off big moves, they were kicking out of finishers, and eventually Seth, nanalo din si Seth, which didn't really excite me at all because we have discussed this over and over again. He is selling this back injury, pero Seth keeps on winning, which made Nakamura's turn worse. Parang nasayang yung heel turn ni Nakamura, and now Drew McIntyre has to suffer a loss to Seth Rollins. But the match was great. The result was meh, but I was shocked of how great the match was. That's why I chose this as my pick of the week, because I barely had any expectations, but I really forgot how in-ring wise Seth and Drew are really good. And again, they have this weird chemistry with each other na Seth don't really have with most of the guys on the roster. So I think Drew is one of Seth's best opponents, I think, in my opinion, over the last couple of years. And it showed. It showed in that match. And I don't know where this storyline is headed at this point. Maybe are we gonna get a rematch? Are they gonna be involved in War Games? I mean, Seth now is pretty much gonna be involved in War Games since he was there earlier when Adam Pearce announced it. So we're gonna get this match at another point. That remains to be seen. But in terms of this match at Crown Jewel, it was really good.
All right. Okay. So for one thing, I will agree with you that it was a good match. Like for all intents and purposes, they have good chemistry, as you said. Yep. They executed well. They moved pretty well, and it was thrilling. Objectively, it was thrilling. But for me, nakulangan ako sa kanya. It wasn't bad, but I thought Drew was angry, I thought that he was frustrated. So I thought marami siyang sama ng loob kasi he never got his big moment in front of the crowd. So why does it feel like he wasn't angry? He parang walang urgency not as much urgency and frustration on his end. Like I wanted to see them start the match with Drew being mad as fuck. I wanted to start pounding on Seth Rollins, and I wanted him to sell how much he was desperate and how much he was angry at Seth making fun of him and saying he wasn't shit because he's not champion anymore.
He was even messing around doing the Ronaldo celebration in the middle of the match. So that's not really someone who's angry, diba?
Yeah, diba? Parang okay, you can fuck around a bit and be mayabang. Pero alam mo yun, parang okay, we're just wrestling a match. They were here's the thing about Seth Rollins matches, and I can say this as a wrestler who wrestles a match in the ring. The thing with Seth Rollins matches is that he likes to do matches. He likes to do good matches because he wants to do good matches. Parang a lot of times he isn't always selling a story. He isn't always telling a story. I think he thinks that he can just do a good match and then it'll be okay, which is I guess true for a lot of fans. Pero my God, alam mo yun, sometimes you don't quite get to where you want to go. It's like the Nakamura feud, diba? Parang you were doing a good match, pero not only was the result of the match not what was logical, kasi syempre you were selling a bad back, right? You were just wrestling normally as though your back wasn't really that hurt, diba? Alam mo yun, parang it's not all there. Like, okay, you're still the same old Seth Rollins, and the story here isn't really clicking for you. So, yun lang ang that was my gripe about this whole thing. Like, it was good. I wanted to like it, but he was just going through the motions that he knows when it comes to having a good match. So, naman, I wish that somebody could tell him to, sell the story, or somebody could tell them. Because it wasn't just Seth, it was also Drew to sell the story. Because I wanted to see angry Drew. I was siding with Drew because I felt his frustration and not having a WrestleMania moment, a world championship moment in front of the crowd because of the COVID pandemic, diba? When he was set to win that thing. So, sayang lang talaga. I felt like they missed the mark. And I guess what happens after this, you asked, was that I think Drew gets angrier, and I think that's when they're going to do the thing. But I already thought that this was the part where he was already mad because somebody had to be a bit of a heel between the two of them, diba? And that was them painting Drew as that. Pero hindi pa pala. So, naman, you got any reaction to what I said?
Yeah, I pretty much also agree with you. Like, even though I thought it was a good match, it was kind of weird. Like, yung expectations ko din kasi, like, again, I didn't have any expectations, but at least I thought Drew was gonna get angrier throughout the match. So sobrang frustration niya na hindi niya na put away si Seth. He's gonna turn heel within the match. Pero hindi nangyari. He was still wrestling it like normally, So maybe in the rematch we'll get that, pero nung Crown Jewel, it was really just a great match.
I think noong Nakamura feud ko pa hinihintay for someone to just fucking kick Seth's ass. I guess the closest thing we got was during the Last Man Standing match. Pero alam mo yun, I wanted a Japan-style ass kicking for Seth. Because Nakamura knew about his back. So why not just, throw everything at him? like Brock did with John Cena.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, not saying it's bad. It's a good match, but it's just a thing. It's just a good match, And sometimes it's enough, but a lot of times, like for other people, it might not be. Right. Anymore? Is that all you have to say about this?
That's all.
Let's move on to the match that has pissed me off so much. Rowan's pick from Crown Jewel is the United States Championship match between Rey Mysterio and one Logan Paul. So before I talk about my feelings, talk about Rowan's feelings. Okay, so Rowan says, most of the time, Logan Paul fights using his high-flying acrobatic skills. That's impressive. But for Rowan, what was more impressive in this match was that Logan worked as a big guy, and as one normally does versus Rey, and made he did power moves on Rey, and that was entertaining for Rowan. While watching this match, Rey kept taking the beatings from Logan Paul, and that made Rowan feel bad. For the first time in his 13-year fandom. So apparently he does not feel bad for Rey Mysterio whenever Rey Mysterio gets beat up. Tapos, he's not a fan of what happened in the finish where yung brass knuckles from Logan Paul's Arab friend, I believe, I don't know who he is. Santos Escobar came out to take the brass knuckles away. And then Rowan thought that it looked dumb Santos looked dumb for leaving the brass knuckles on the apron for Logan Paul to get and use to win the US Championship. So this is interesting because I saw another reading of this on Twitter, and they basically implied Santos did that on purpose. So when you look at it, kasi parang deliberate yung diba? Deliberate talaga yung pagkaiwan niya. But at the same time, Logan Paul was also sent to that side of the ring by Rey, diba? So I think Santos couldn't have known that he would be, or Logan Paul would be getting the brass knuckles where he left them. So there's an argument to be made for either Santos doing it on purpose or Santos looking dumb, as Rowan says. So I guess we'll find out on SmackDown this Saturday. This is really interesting because people have been kind of calling for the Santos heel turn on Rey, and I think that's where they're going before Rey goes back to dominate. So it's interesting. I do want to see that, and I think the whole did he or didn't he is intriguing. I want to see them resolve that properly. Whether or not Santos did that on purpose isn't important to me, at least. I don't know to you, Emil, but it is funny that that was how they got to the finish, and I don't think I've ever seen it played out that way. Somebody leaving a weapon, then the opponent happens to get to that side where the weapon was left. So, what did you think of what did you think of this, Emil? Before I talk about my own feelings for this match.
About the finish, yeah. Medyo we need an explanation on this, and it's also gonna be interesting. How are they gonna explain this? Like, and where are they going with this? Like, is this something that intentional? Like Santos really did put the brass knuckles in there for Logan to use, or this is just this was just one of those accidents. So again, we need malalaman natin yun on SmackDown. Pero because I think lately they've been teasing Santos to turn on Ray, so possibly this could be where it's heading, right? So let's see, let's find out.
Tapos, sorry, I forgot this one thing that Rowan said. Logan Paul has been stealing Adam Page's moves. The story of Logan Paul in this match was that he was taking a lot of moves from legendary wrestlers. So a lot of 80s wrestlers, he took some moves. Michael Cole, I don't know if Stan mentioned this on his Tagalog commentary, and their Tagalog commentary, but Michael Cole's story was that Logan Paul was quote unquote a student of the game, which is why he was stealing a lot of moves from legends like the Ultimate Warrior and a whole bunch of other guys. So Rowan noticed, and actually I was talking about this with ABL kanina at work. Logan Paul stole 3 moves from Hangman Page. So one is the buckshot, which you can all see. Then see Rowan saw the Avalanche fall away slam, which the commentators in WWE did not know that Adam Page does, which is fair, right? And then this lesser known move, the triangle clothesline from the corner. So he jumps on the second rope.
Oh yeah.
Tapos he turns around and delivers a lariat to the guy who is on the apron. So that's apparently also from Hangman Page, which ABL caught. So interesting. So Rowan says he's really patterning his moveset from Adam Page. And I think it's not a bad person to steal from, because if you're a WWE only fan, you probably don't know the deep cuts from Hangman. Diba? So, okay na rin. I mean, the only thing you probably know is the buckshot, and that's about it. People are saying he does it better. Yung buckshot ni Logan Paul ng Crown Jewel wasn't as smooth as his previous ones, but okay naman. It's one of those things that looks impressive. Any more feelings on this match, Emil, before I talk about mine?
Let's talk about that clip. Kasi,
all right, let's talk about that fucking spot. Let's talk about it.
Also, again, di ba, nasa biyahe ako, like, that night, right? And all I could see on my timeline after that was that clip. And people are saying, "Oh, Logan saved Rey Mysterio."
Good fucking God. Okay, so for those who may not have seen what the clip that we are talking about, so here's the setting. So Rey Mysterio goes through the ropes and jumps on the middle rope, and he springboard moonsaults all the way back. Pero Logan Paul is in the dead center of the ring, and Rey Mysterio's moonsault isn't far enough to get to where Logan Paul is standing. So Logan Paul realizes this at the very last second and takes a step forward to catch Ray in the moonsault as he's supposed to. Now, okay, here's the fucked up part about this whole thing. People thought Ray was going to land on the top of his head, which is a fair fear, because it's happened to so many people in the past. Like it recently happened to Big E last year. So that's what happened to Big E. And people thought that Logan Paul stepping forward at the last second was him being aware enough to save Rey Mysterio from a grisly fate, from that quote unquote botched springboard moonsault. And now people are heralding Logan Paul as this hero, this quote unquote good worker for realizing this at the last second and quote unquote saving Rey Mysterio's career and neck. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Okay, so here's the thing. I already knew that wrestling fans didn't know the things that we wrestlers know when it comes to wrestling in the ring. But oh my God, this fucking takes the cake. This tells me na wala talagang alam ang karamihan ng fans na nanonood ng wrestling. And I should never, ever, ever, ever listen to their opinion on how to do something. They can, they can have their opinion on if something worked or not. But this, oh my God, nobody knows. Very few people that I've seen knew what they were talking about in this moment, in this spot. Okay. So I'm going to break it down as the wrestler, as someone who has actually done a springboard from the middle rope and, jumping to the center of the ring backwards. So you cannot fly that far back to where Logan Paul was standing. Look at the clip again. Logan Paul was standing in the dead center of the ring. That is a 20 by 20 feet wrestling ring. And 20 by 20 is super huge. The rings that we have in PWR and MWF are around 16 by 16 to 18 by 18. And those are way smaller because I can travel the distance of the ring, perimeter. Was it the perimeter? No, not the perimeter. The area of the ring. In 3 footsteps, in 3 strides. In a 20 by 20 ring, you can see them take much longer to travel the entire distance. And because it's so big, you literally cannot fly back that far. And the receiver's job is to take a step closer to the rope so that he could catch the person springboarding from the middle rope back into the, reversing into the center. So it is literally impossible for Rey Mysterio to moonsault all the way back to where Logan Paul was standing. And that's the first part. The second part is that Rey Mysterio did a perfect moonsault arc, jumping from the middle rope all the way up. That's why he didn't go far, because he went all the way up. Yep. And because he went all the way up, he had enough momentum to land on his front. We call that a front bump or a face bump. And when you launch yourself, the momentum will take you all the way over. It's not going to be one of those things that you suddenly stop in the peak of your moonsault arc and land on the top of your head. The reason why Big E landed on the top of his head is because the height of his jump was lower than Rey's springboard jump. Kaya hindi umabot. Pero ito aabot siya, and he was already clearing. He was already over the peak when Logan Paul caught him. So he was not in danger, and we bring up danger because the real reason why he was even in any danger was because Logan Paul was not where he was supposed to be. Yon, that is the part that people do not understand because they don't know what is going on in that ring when we do spots like that. So what really pisses me off talaga is that people are calling Logan Paul a fucking hero when all I see was a wrestler who was inexperienced. It's not his fault. He was just inexperienced. All I see was a wrestler who was so inexperienced that he forgot what he was supposed to do. Like, maybe he was watching a little bit where, watching Ray do his thing. Tapos hindi na namalayan na dapat lalapit pala siya. But whatever it was, he was not where he was supposed to be. He was not a hero. He was late. And it was not out of the, awareness of his where he was that he did what he did. He didn't save anyone. He endangered Ray. If we're talking about anything, if we're really talking about what he did there, and it just pisses me off so much that people don't understand this. People see one thing and think that like I can go on and on, repeat myself over and over, but it just pisses me off so much. Seeing my timeline say, "Oh, Logan Paul is so good. Logan Paul is so good." No, he was not good at that moment. And I don't know. I guess I don't think there's any point now in screaming from my soapbox because people will never listen to the experts. People don't think unless Logan Paul himself says that I fucked up. It was my bad. They're gonna think what they think. And no, I think what really makes me feel bad about this is okay. You can think that it was a nice spot, diba? It was a nice catch. Pero the fact that they're trying to talk about it as though they knew what happened is what really gets my goat here. Even more so that they're kind of slandering Rey Mysterio here. Parang sinabi pa nila na, oh, it's Rey's fault. He fucked up. Maybe he should retire because he can't do this shit anymore. That's not fucking true. Rey knew what he was doing. Logan knew that Rey knew what he was doing. So that's the worst part of the guy, that people think that they can speak on it as though they knew what Logan Paul was supposed to do, as though they could do what he was supposed to do in that moment as well, as though they could do what Rey was doing in that moment as well. So, yun talaga, I think it was at this moment where I lost faith in the wrestling fandom. Sorry, that was a really long rant, and it was annoying. It pissed me off.
Yeah, I get your sentiments. Kasi saka Ray has been doing. I've seen Ray do that move so many times before. Na he clearly knows what he is doing. Like I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt sa veterano kasi he's been in the business for a lot of years, and in that exact moment he knew what he's gonna do and where he was. He's completely aware of the situation. Si Logan yung medyo na late doon na onte. And it's kind of crazy na after Crown Jewel, all I could see was that clip all over my Facebook, all over my Twitter, and I'm glad that you explained it in a way that a lot of people don't seem to understand really what happened there.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's how fast misinformation spreads, and that's also how fast bad takes spread. I shouldn't be surprised, but I still am. It's so easy to I guess it's so easy to trick people. But the thing is, they tricked themselves into thinking they knew how it was supposed to happen. Diba? Okay lang sana if you tricked yourself into thinking, oh, wrestling is real. If you mas okay pa nga sana if you tricked yourself into believing that, oh, Logan Paul was so good that he caught Rey Mysterio doing his move, diba? He countered the move. It was a different thing. They tricked themselves into thinking that they understood what happened. So it's just so it's just so bad. Like wala na akong tiwala, wala na akong kapani-paniwala sa wrestling fandom. If you listen to this and you still don't think I'm right, then you're free to stop listening to the podcast. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like I know what I'm doing. I have done a similar spot. I've shown you the video on my Instagram, on my Facebook page. And if you still don't believe me, then what's the point? You don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. Right. Any other thoughts? Sorry, I didn't even talk about the match. I think Logan Paul deserves it. Naman. I think he loses a lot so much, before the Ricochet win, that I think you did need to give him something to really boost his credibility as a YouTuber turned pro wrestler. So okay lang din yan. Rowan was right in that Logan naman was believable as a bigger man between him and Rey. A lot of people have praised Logan Paul for knowing how to be a pro wrestler instead of just pretending to be a pro wrestler. His moveset nung match na to kind of makes you feel like he was pretending to be a pro wrestler, like pretending to be his idols. Pero the little things he got, so the spot aside, He knows what to do in there. He knows how to piss people off. He actually told a better story than Seth Rollins did. McIntyre did. So that's actually not a bad pick here. But Rowan.
No. So I'm glad that Logan has accepted to work as a heel.
Yeah,
he was reluctant at first, diba? Like when he made his debut, and then I think up until this year, he refused to work heel. But that's where he is at his best. When he's working heel, and you can see it. It's very natural of him to work as a heel.
Yeah,
even in the ring. So,
yep. All right. Yeah. So, I wish he would be more than just a part-time player, and I guess he would be because he's now a champion. So, sana mas marami pa siyang matches because he really is good. I think it's time we stop treating him as a featured performer and really make the most out of him as a WWE superstar. So, looking forward to more Logan Paul matches. I don't know who's next after Ray. I don't know if he'll be able to keep up the consistency of his matches. I think the real testament of a pro wrestler is how well you do in the week to week or the more regular basis instead of planning out and writing your matches every now and then, because it's easy to practice a match that you have every now and then. That's what we did here in the local scene. But to do it more often, to keep it up, is a different story. And I think that's what makes a legit professional wrestler. All right. Sorry, you got any last thoughts? Or
do you thought what's next for who's next? I guess for Logan, there might be a chance WrestleMania, Logan Paul versus LA Knight. We'll see.
Hey, for the US Championship.
Yeah, diba?
Gotta give him one championship.
Pakonsuelo kasi natalo siya kay Roman eh. So
yeah. All right. Okay. Can't wait for that. All right. The rest of our Crown Jewel reactions, we have quite a bit of them. Sorry, we have one last match for that. Sorry.
Yeah, one last match.
God, we spoke so much about fucking Logan Paul, but we almost forgot Stan's pick here. I was almost about to end the show. All right, Stan's pick is the second women's championship match: Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. Okay, so this was big because Kairi Sane returned to the WWE after rumors, and Stan says that the Kairi return really pushed this one over the top for him because it immediately established Kairi as a big deal on the main roster, as she should have been a long, long time ago. And then Michael Cole and Triple H deserve all the props in the world for upholding continuity and reminding everyone about Io and Kairi's history in the same team. And more importantly, Bayley was the reason why Kairi was kayfabe taken out of WWE back during the pandemic. And then that's why she went back to Japan and all that. Okay, so I have quite a bit of thoughts on this one. The thing here is that it was a good match. Bianca, Io, sobrang ganda ng chemistry nila. We've seen this already. And these are two of the most elite women wrestlers on the main roster, and you can never go wrong with a highly mobile Bianca versus Io match. But the problem is, parang walang pakialam yung crowd, diba? Parang walang pakialam yung Saudi crowd. I don't know why. I don't know. I can't speak as to whether the Saudi society is, culturally patriarchal or misogynistic. Maybe they don't really care about women's wrestling all that much, but it was such a waste of, one, a good women's match, and two, the return of Kairi Sane. Because Kairi's a big deal. And it's not like she was like a niche performer from NXT, because she had a lot of time in the main roster getting that exposure. It's not like fans don't know who she is. So parang when she came back, when she appeared, literal no reaction. Diba? And I blame the Saudi crowd for this. Like, what sheer disrespect for all three or four women involved in this match. So that's my biggest problem here. I kind of wish, I get why they did this in Crown Jewel, because syempre it's a PLE, pero I wish they just did this on Raw to a more appreciative crowd. What do you agree, Emil? What do you think?
Yes, kasi compare it to the first matchup this year between Bianca and Io on the PLE, which was Backlash. That crowd was so hot for that match. Like they were cheering throughout the match. They were siding with Io. So you compare the crowd from Backlash to this one. Sobrang nakatulong yung crowd talaga to make the back, even though they're two of the greats right there in WWE, pero nakatulong yung crowd to make that Backlash match one of the best matches this year. And this basically the same matchup, pero in front of a crowd that didn't even care. It's kind of sad. Like, sobrang sayang. This is someday it's just gonna be a WrestleMania main event, and you didn't even care for it. The crowd didn't even care for it. So it was kind of sad. And also made the Kyrie return. Parang no one even reacted to it that much, aside from people online who's was very happy, was excited for the return of Kyrie Sane to WWE.
Yeah, talagang, I don't know. Well, obviously, again, Triple H couldn't have not done a women's match on this pay-per-view, on this PLE. Pero wala, parang kind of makes you think. I mean, if I were Triple H, if I were management, it really makes you think twice about putting in a big women's matchup on a card like this. Parang ako ma-discourage ako. Like, I think the whole Rhea Ripley versus Natalia thing that they did on Night of Champions, I think that was the way to go.
Yeah.
They don't fucking care. They don't care, so don't give them a good match, diba? Sayang eh. So, yun lang. It was a mess. I appreciate Stan for picking this though, but I just felt really bad for everyone involved. Like, parang, I don't know. Kyrie did a good job of, if she was frustrated at the moment, during the moment, she didn't make it look obvious. Well, again, she was also playing a heel, so she didn't have to feel emotional about it. Pero yun lang. All right, that is our picks of the week for the past week. A lot of feelings on this one. If you agree or disagree, please do hit us up. It is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter, at Monday Night Rowan, at Chino Supersize, at _Stan C, at EML _Meister for Emil here, at Rose War for me, at Shang.Daddy on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, whole bunch of those things. Thank you again for listening to this. It feels good to be back on our regular schedule as well. A lot of wrestling to catch up to, and maraming ganap. And we'll see you guys on Thursday as usual.
I know. So if today we had so many feelings about the picks that we talked about, so on Thursday there's going to be lots more of that, especially with the main event.
Oh yes.
And, like, I was sick last Sunday. That's why I went on this Twitter rant, because I was
I didn't even see that.
I was sick, and I want seeing the results of that main event, seeing how the main event turned out. We're gonna have a lot of things to talk about.
Yun, may run si Emil. Can't wait for that. It's going up so fast. Yeah. All right. So that's the preview for Thursday. I think Emil teased it enough, and if you share his frustrations, I have things to say about it as well. Kind of agreeing with him now. If you share the frustrations, then make sure to tune in on Facebook and YouTube. On Facebook, it's the Wrestling Podcast. On YouTube, it's Wrestling Podcast. Medyo that's yung SEO namin sa YouTube, pero you'll find it. We'll send you the link if you need to look for it and if you want to watch on YouTube. Thank you again to you guys for listening to this show, this audio-only episode for Picks of the Week. Thank you to our good boys and girls at the Pod Network, Babyface producer Jasper, Babyface manager Riza, and everyone who helps us out. Thanks also to our friends over at Hobby Stadium, Everybody's Toys and Collectibles, and Geek Talk as well for all their help for all the watch parties and all the events. Everyone is doing their part to, buhayin ulit ang local wrestling community, at least here in Manila, for the least part, right? Until then, until Thursday, We'll see you again. This has been Romaran from my co-host Emil Nate and our absent co-host Stan Emil and Stan Chino and Rowan ASH. This has been the Wrestling Podcast. Until then, please stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, maulan na ulit. Stay healthy because a lot of people are getting sick, including ourselves. And again, do not be a dick. Wrestling Podcast is out of here. Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity,